against the driving rain are the fans, bless them. They've turned out into their thousands, but it's reckoned that at least 10,000 of them will have stopped at home.
Now, call me old-fashioned, Jack, but you really don't want to be out there playing computer games when it's pouring down. You know, that's going to be ruined.
Go and tell her. Just go and have a word.
Once you only need a drop of water in the mechanism there and it's all spoiled.
Pauli fell off, but not quite.
Yeah,
and they called it off, and Alex Barros and this man and Troy Bayliss and Troy Corser went out in the course car to check out what needed doing, and they had an hour and a half cleaning up.
Yeah, and in actual fact, just what I was going to say was Barros, Bayliss and Corser went out in the course car, like you said, had a look round. They sort of kicking round with their feet, trying to decide if the oil had been cleaned up enough to race or enough to practice at least, get cleaned up and get back out.
Over 150,000 fans that have come.
Steve Martin there with his wife Sandra. His heavily pregnant wife Sandra. They're expecting their first baby in about 6 weeks' time. This is Troy Corser receiving a watch that he'll hope to be able to hand on to his dad Steve, because it's Father's Day back home in Australia. Troy Gordon Corser signs the lens, as he's done 36 times.
A good drive away, but I don't think they're going to allow him.
Who's going to get the vital start here? This really will be vital into turn one. Bayliss on the left, Corser on the right. Both get away well. Not so good for Noriyuki Haga in the middle. And it's Kageyama. Bayliss on his right-hand side. Kageyama sticks out an eight, but Bayliss is going to get there first. And as they tiptoe into turn one, Troy Bayliss has the... Steve Martin goes wide. Alex Barros legs into the gravel.
That's
and Stalker might be off into the gravel as well and giving himself a massive amount to do. And Stalker's going to come back on absolutely plumb last from way out in the gravel, while these lads pussyfoot round this first awkward section. A long, long right-hander, followed by a, well, normally 45 mile an hour left-hander that James Tolson says you feel a right geek going through in the rain. And then you've just got to get the power down, and that's where the Ducati scores going on to the back straight.
And
so the front four from the front row of the grid all together.
Yeah, and Corser looks like he's made the start he wanted to do. He was fairly keen that the first section would split everybody up. It's a one line through that first section, and he's got the start he wanted.
Tosland's made a good start. Barros, I think it wasn't Barros, it must have been Fonzi Nieto who went paddling off towards the gravel, because Barros is up there ahead of James Tosland in 5th place. And Tosland immediately having a big moment there as the front three line up and file through. What are you thinking at this stage, James? Notice Ruben Zaus hovering as well on the Sterile Garda Ducati. He's made a good start.
You're just trying to figure out how fast to go, really. It's difficult at the front because you've got to set the pace. But this early on, you're just trying to figure out where it's slippy. They've done a little bit of practice this morning, so looking for any puddles. I mean, Bayliss is looking around already, and it's only the first lap. But you're trying not to make any mistakes. As always in the wet, you don't want to make any mistakes. You've got to be smooth. And... you've got to be a little bit lucky. Around the fast sections, what you're looking to do is not touch any white lines. It's really easy around this fast section coming towards the chicane to touch a white line, and the job will be over.
So braking hard now into the Timmer chicane at the end of this first lap. Bayliss leads it, Corser second, Kageyama third, Norrie Haga ahead of Alex Barros, who's got away a bit from James Tosland, Andrew Pitt in 7th, 8th Zaus, 9th Sebastian Jambert, who is a bit of a wet weather merchant riding for the Yamaha France R1 squad, ahead of Regis Laconi, Noric Arve, Michel Fabrizio and Josh Brooks. I said Brooks looked keen, he's there in 13th place.
Did he stop for the start, or did he just keep going after his wall? I can't remember.
And I think Brooks, in keeping with so many of the Aussies, and we have one of them in the commentary booth here lingering behind us, Brendan Roberts, sorry, 2 of them, seem to like the wet. I don't know why guys who come from such a dry country like the wet, but traditionally people like Kevin Curtin have always gone well in the rain, and Josh Brooks looks like another. But at the front, Troy Corser. Would Corser surely prefer to be at the front and have just a bit better visibility here?
Yeah, there's not that much water coming up, there's not that much spread. I don't think you're going to have a problem with visibility just yet.
Corser says that one of the main problems when there's been a lot of rain here is a tendency to aquaplane. He said there's quite good grip, but occasionally it does get a bit... Oh, and here he comes, trying to have a look up the inside of Troy Bayliss. Not quite. Kageyama's pushing.
What he means by that, Jack, is the fact that there's so many fast corners. Not just so many now of the new circuit, but there's so many fast corners. The long series of rights and then the big left before the chicane are so quick that any little slide, a bit of slippy track. Oh, this is...
What's going on? Oh, Barros has got stuffed by Rubens House.
Steady, boys, have a care.
Put it there, son. And the front four have just broken away from that scrap, in fact. Tosland's leading it now in 5th place, but this front four have just escaped somewhat, lapping very tentatively in 2 minutes 5, 2 minutes 6 seconds, way beyond, in fact beyond what they were doing on the 1500 metre longer old circuit in the dry.
Yeah, but that was the first lap you're looking at there on the timing screen. This next lap will be a lot quicker once we come over the line. Yeah,
and it is. Bayliss 159.8, fastest man on track. Hager 159.032. That's closed him right up on the leading three. And considering Norrie really detests rain, he's pretty gritty when he gets out in it.
This is Corsa trying to go up the inside of Bayliss and not just getting away with it.
Incidentally, Norrie Hager proved his prowess while the warm-up was being delayed extensively this morning. Dear me. by firing t-shirts from a huge air gun across the main straight into the far grandstand, to the delight of the fans, those who didn't get knocked out by the cannon fire. So there he is in 4th place, behind Bayliss and the two Suzukis.
At this point, Kageyama looks fairly keen to get past his teammate, but he is going to have to be so careful. Francis Batten would not be pleased if there was a mangling session between his two riders.
Yukio looks to me like a man who's keen to be at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. He looks like he's just been held up in certain parts of the track by his teammate Troy Corsa.
And there are certain points where the Suzuki's look are closing up on Troy Bayliss, but when he gets to this steadier section at the far end of the track, there the Ducati gets away.
It looks like anyway the bike's on its side for a length of time, the Ducati just seems, or let's say Troy Bayliss and the Ducati, look at there, just mid-corner.
Yeah,
he just seems to be able to pull away. He's just got a bit more confidence mid-corner.
And Rubens House is locking horns with James Tosland in the background there. The two white figures in the background. Tosland on the Tenkate Honda, riding, of course, on home ground for the Dutch squad. And Rubens House on the Sterile Garda Berwick Ducati. House, remember, a former race winner here.
Yeah, former race winner, and also 1 year he had to basically shut off and let his teammate Troy Bayliss at the time pass for the championship.
And that was in 2001. He won the first race in 2003 against Neil Hodgson. And here comes Hager round the outside of his best mate Yukio Kageyama, just to prove that we were wrong about Kageyama pressing.
Yep.
And Hager's best lap once again, 158.529, fastest man on track.
And I think now he's got past Kageyama, and I think you'll see him close up pretty quick on the back. And Corsa's now past Bayliss for the lead.
So Troy Corsa is completely contrary to anything we may have presupposed, has now been the lad who's pushed onto the front, and he did seem quietly confident when we spoke to him.
I tell you what, we spoke to him just after the warm-up was stopped because of the Steve Martin's bike dumping the oil, and he was very confident, just sort of relaxed, not nervous whatsoever.
So Troy Corsa now at the front. Look at him standing on the brakes at the end of that main straight where he goes into the chicane at the Ruskenhoek, which is normally an 80 mile an hour second gear right-left flick, distinctly slower this time. And almost kissing tyres, the Japanese pals.
These are best mates, but when they get together on track, you always got the impression that something bad's gone out, don't you?
Meanwhile, behind these four, Rubens House is 5th now, ahead of James Tosland as they cross the line. Andrew Pitt, Sebastian Jambert now 8th, and Barros is out.
Well,
he doesn't look pleased with life at all. So
he's not going to be, is he?
The 7-time Motor GP and Motorcycle 500cc Grand Prix winner flings down his gloves, and he's out after 4 laps of 22 here at the new 1500 metre shorter 4.5 kilometre race. And that's Fabrizio Killy.
That's Killy. It's Killy.
So Frankie Killy, who I thought might do all right in the... Oh, didn't that let go fast? Oh, dear
Load of brakes still on. Going here, Struben, and maybe faster than Struben. Anyway.
Frankie, there was no warning there. So Frankie Killy goes down hard on his shoulder, and he's out of the race. Incidentally, remarkably, Curtis Roberts, younger son of Kenny Roberts Sr., is in 15th place and has a point for the NC Karaki Ducati team. I beg your pardon, the Pedicini Ducati team. He was ahead of Killy. Killy's now gone. Max Neukirchner will be in 16th place. just outside the points, riding now, of course, for the Alstara engineering team. But these four are having a rather entertaining slow motion duel at the front. Kageyama trying to find a way past Noriyuki Haga, but at the front, Corsa just has opened up those few bike lengths. We'll take a quick break. Welcome back to Assen. A dramatic move by Noriyuki Haga has taken him past Troy Bayliss into second place. An even more dramatic retaliation by Troy Bayliss had him running alongside the Yamaha, but look at this.
We don't have long to wait, but I think Haga's going to have the quickest lap by a long way. I think this is going to be into the, well, it's definitely going to be a 57 anyway. Let's see.
57.3, yep. So he's gone 4/10 quicker than Troy Corsa had done the previous lap, and suddenly he's right on Corsa's back wheel, tiptoeing their way around. Ruben Zaus is 5th, James Tolson in 6th is now about 5 seconds behind. Andrew Pitt has closed right up on Tolson. Fabrizio there. Josh Brooks, what a performance by Josh Brooks. He's now 9th past Sebastian Jambert, and a great performance also by Chris Walker. He's through to 16th, but look at Bayliss.
Look at this.
Bayliss stalking round the outside of Norrie Haga. Haga tries to tuck up the inside.
It's not worked.
Bayliss glances to his right. Norrie Haga on the brakes hard. Oh dear me. He just holds on to it, and Troy Bayliss all the time doesn't seem to want to let Haga get away round the outside, and then he can brake hard and just snatch the line off Troy Corsa going into the right-hander. Dear me. So that's Steckenval, and then up towards De Bolt now. You drop into this, it's quite a tight left, and a very short burst up to Mandeveen, and this is where the Ducati's good. Going into the tight right-hander, he retakes the lead.
Yeah, it just seems to be able to run through the middle section of the corners quicker than anybody else does, Bayliss. This is a section where it just builds up. There's this right-hander, then there's another right-hander, then another faster, getting gradually quicker all the time, and then it's back 1 gear, sometimes back 2 gears. On the 4-cylinder, it's back 2 gears for the left-hander, the big fast left, this one here before the chicane.
And another man who's lapping very, very fast, incidentally, you can see prowling in the background. Ruben Zaus, 157.4, was only a 1/10 of a second slower than Norrie Haga on that last lap, but it was Bayliss with a 158.2 set his fastest lap of the race, and now as he hammers past us now, 157.9, he sets the fastest lap on that lap. No, he doesn't. 157.2. Ruben Zaus is on the move on the Sterile Garda Ducati. He's in 5th place, and he's pulled way ahead of a big battle. Tosland, Fabrizio, Andrew Pitt. Oh, and now goes Corsa. Corsa dumps the Suzuki big time, and the reigning world champion, who'd been riding so solidly up until that point, is down and out. Oh, dear me, he hit hard as well.
Oh, that's terrible. I feel sorry for Troy.
So Bayliss, Haga and Kageyama will now be the trio at the front. Corsa, here he goes. Oh, yeah. Wow, that did go down hard underneath him. And he only just got away from the bike. Ouch.
It just missed him then.
Spun away from him. So now we've got the two red menaces at the front, Troy Bayliss and Noriyuki Haga. Yukio Kageyama is 3rd, and Ruben Zaus moves 4th.
And that's the thing, Jack, in a way, it's not as physically demanding because you're not throwing the bike around as much, you're not putting as much pressure physically, but mentally, it's so draining racing in these conditions, because one tiny mistake and the job can be over, just like it was for Troy Corsa there.
It's almost difficult to call that a mistake, because the front end just lets go so
all
fast.
It is just running in a little bit too quick and just having a little bit too much brake, and it's all about minute little differences in the way that can catch you out. And here comes Zaus and once Zaus starts to catch, he's definitely going to press on, I'll tell you. I'm scared for him now.
You really tend to forget that Ruben Zaus has won 9 races in his World Superbike career, and he's finished 2nd in the World Championship. He won here in 2003. He allowed Bayliss to win twice in 2001.
And he's yet another rider who's come back from MotoGP, a couple of years in MotoGP, and not been the force he has before. He was a quality rider, was Zaus in World Superbike for years.
The rain is driving and slanting in behind them. The wind is pushing them down the main straight here. Here's Michel Fabrizio. He has nicked that 5th place from James Toseland. Andrew Pitt, also another of the quality Australian wet weather riders, is right in the mix there. And behind
the yellow
him,
flags are out. The yellow flags are out, Jack. I don't know just quite what's happened there. It might be because they're still getting rid of
the Corsa mess,
bike. But the yellow flags are out at turn 1.
So this is the battle between Michel Fabrizio. The young Roman is now through on the DFX Honda ahead of James Toseland, Tenkate Honda, and Andrew Pitt is now pressing Toseland. And once again, Hager tries to move past Bayliss under the brakes and just eases him out.
Yep.
Troy Bayliss says he loves racing against Hager. They enjoyed a monumental, is that the word I'm looking for, battle at Brands Hatch in the dry and sunshine. Here they are doing it again in the wet of the Netherlands.
Yeah, and this is hard work for the lads. I mean, I've done reasonably well in the way. I didn't used to mind the wet at all because I thought I was going to get a result, but this is such hard work. Mentally, they'll be done in when this is finished. Again,
Troy Bayliss glancing over his shoulder. Is he just making sure he's clear behind and happy with the fact he's not under pressure so he can attack again?
Maybe his lap signals are telling him that Zaus is catching, and you don't really want to get nabbed from behind, especially if it's Zaus who's catching you up.
James Toseland there, number 52, just ahead of 88 Andrew Pitt. Behind them, the battle is on between Sebastian Jambert, Josh Brooks and Carl Muggeridge. Is that Ruben?
I think it is.
Oh,
yes,
he was going so fast, and the old bogey strikes again. Ruben Zaus stomps back to his Sterile Garda Ducati.
I hate to say it, but anybody who's lapping half a second quicker than Bayliss and Hager has got to be on sort of shaky ground somewhat, haven't they?
Well, he was damp and shaky ground. So that will move Fabrizio 4th, Toseland 5th, Pitt 6th, and Josh Brooks and Sebastian Jambert.
Oh, that's Bayliss off the track. What happened there? In actual fact, Hager ran wide.
And Kageyama's gone.
High side it coming out.
Oh no! Yukio goes down, and Bayliss is very fortuitous to regain his 2nd place because Yukio has bailed.
I told you I had a feeling about this. I just had a feeling this race was going to be...
Oh dear. There's got to be still some traces of all that stuff that was dropped on the track, surely.
Yeah, but even before that was put down this morning, Jack, people were saying that it was slippy going into turn 1, maybe something to do with the car racing, rubber in a certain place, whatever. But that seems to be where it's catching everybody out, turn 1.
So Hager now has to maintain his concentration. He's done 8 laps out of 22. So he's got to maintain his concentration, maintain his speed.
These races, especially when it's wet, yes, but when you're out on your own, especially, they just take so long. If you're dicey with somebody, they're dry.
Yeah.
Races, 22 laps can go in about 10 minutes, but this is going to be a 4-hour race for him in his mind.
And Sebastian Jambert's in 7th, 8th is Muggeridge, 9th Josh Brooks, now 10th Chris Walker. Oh dear me, Chris is lapping fast. Stalker's come through from, I don't know, 39th. He was bog last when he came out of the gravel in the first turn.
He's lapping about half a second quicker than about 3 or 4 guys in front of him. So
Only Hager is going quicker at the moment. He's lapping at the same pace as Bayliss. This is Norrie Hager. He's at the, beg your pardon, it's Michel Fabrizio.
Yep. He's
now in 4th place with the DF Extreme Honda. And behind him he's got number 88 Andrew Pitt. I'm very tickled by Andrew's retro white helmet. I hadn't noticed that before. He's hadn't had it on until the race.
Yeah, well maybe it's his wet weather. You've always got a wet weather helmet just standing ready.
Why?
Because it takes a lot of... It's all prepared differently. You've got a double glazed visor, you've got a clear visor obviously, and some kind of different venting system some other riders use, so you will have a wet weather helmet prepared and ready.
Well, certainly Andrew Pitt has got his on, and we can see it like a white beacon there in the middle of all this spray at the moment, because the rain, completely contrary to any kind of forecast that were flying around, continues to drive down.
Yeah,
and Ronald Tenkate insists it's coming straight over from some grubby little island called Great Britain. We've denied this.
It's coming from Norfolk.
Yes, it's the fault of the Norfolk Broads. It's coming directly across.
That's one of the opponent on Motor France.
Jambert's down. Sebastian Jambert. Oh, he was having such a good ride, the 2004 World Endurance Champion. And for Marshall Garcia's Yamaha Ippon France team.
I tell you what, you should have got a ride yourself here today, Jack. You'd have got points.
On the scooter. We went round on the scooter in the damp yesterday evening. We managed all right. We've just glimpsed the Emperor of Japan, that glorious little son of this man, Noriyuki Haga, watching his dad in action, and his dad is putting on some sort of display. But notice Troy Bayliss lapping in, well, I was going to say about the same pace. Actually, Bayliss' last lap, of course, was 2 minutes 8.9 after his huge moment.
He's lapping just as quick as Haga now, though, because he's in the same place.
He's certainly lapping as quick, and Andrew Pitt is closing on Fabrizio.
And incidentally, Pitt's in a new set of leathers from this meeting on. His RST he's wearing now instead of Arlen Ness. The same stuff as I wear for the magazine.
That's a thrilling piece of information. Thank you very much indeed,
I just thought I'd point that out.
Almost matches my own moments of glory here.
Almost matches your moments of inane drivel.
Like the fact that we drove in along part of that beautiful 5-mile circuit.
Yeah, the old circuit, yeah.
From 1954 till 1984 when they shortened it for the first time. And of course now they've shed that extra 1,500 metres just so that these lads can come past the pits a bit more often.
We're looking at Haga. Where is there's Bayliss. I'm not sure whether he's catching him or not.
Bayliss is just going to keep pressing on.
2 seconds quicker.
He lapped about 1.1 seconds quicker on that lap. Whoa, but he's got in a bit deep.
Again, he's done it again.
Every time someone picks up the pace, that's what happens to them.
Can you remember though the wet weather, the wet race at Silverstone, when Bayliss actually crashed 3 times, kept picking his bike up and kept going quicker than what he did before he crashed?
I'm not so sure that we haven't lost Walker on that lap. I think we've lost... Oh no, he's gone through 6th. I missed him. Chris Walker, there he is on screen. He's gone through in 6th place, lapping just about the pace of Nori Haga.
Just about to pass Muggers, I think.
Well, this is a great ride by Chris Walker. In a sense, he's riding for his place in the team. He feels under pressure because Fonzo Nieto brings money to the team, and Regis Laconi got FG Sport backing to get onto the team, and he needs results. Meanwhile, Andrew Pitt has tiptoed right up towards the back wheel of Michel Fabrizio. This is the battle for a rostrum finish. Of course, at the last round in Brands Hatch, this man Andrew Pitt finished in 3rd place. He's a class rider, Pitty.
Yeah, he is. I tell you what, he was unlucky at Brno not to finish on the rostrum at least once, having his bike stopped with electrical problems both races, I think.
Chris Walker has now closed right up on Toseland, and
no, it's not Toseland, it's Muggers. There's Toseland.
It's Muggers, sorry.
Yeah, there's Muggers and there's Walker.
And Toseland is in 12th place. What's happened to James? JT now right back in 12th place. 13th Lanzi, 14th Steve Martin, 15th Ivan Clementi, ahead of the 39-year-old Harry Van Beek, who finished 3rd in the up. Someone else has gone down.
Somebody else off. That's one of them. Is that Bayliss?
It could be. It's a little difficult to tell through the mist. It's one of the Xerox Ducatis.
It's got to be Bayliss.
Haga's gone through. Bayliss hasn't. I'm up on my feet. I'm looking for Troy Bayliss. Someone's going to go by. I think it's Bayliss. So Bayliss has gone down. The championship leader.
His race is over, for sure.
That's fascinating because Fabrizio goes past just ahead of Pitt. Muggeridge goes past just ahead of Walker. Oh, who was that?
That's Bayliss. He lost the rear on the last fast right before the chicane. That is about a 120, 130 miles an hour get off.
Oh, bless him.
Look how far he's finished up from his bike.
So Bayliss goes down hard, and this man, Nori Haga...
This man needs some lap signals from his pit crew telling him that he's miles in front and everybody's crashing.
Surely he'll get those from Maio Marigali.
Well,
you really rate him as a team manager. He's going to let him know. Here's Pitt trying to get past Michel Fabrizio. But Fabrizio, I tell you what, he's proving a handful in the wet. He's impressing me. Because Pitt's good when it rains.
Here it comes up the inside. No, not quite.
Meanwhile, you've got Muggers and Stalker. Incidentally, Carl Muggeridge's dad is here and his mum are here this weekend on a holiday in Europe. Not exactly enjoying the weather, but it's Father's Day back home in Australia. So Muggers good too with the result for his dad, but I think he's lost out to Stalker.
Here comes
Stalker.
Down. That's Muggeridge.
Me and my big mouth. Commentator's curse strikes again. Muggers goes down as he kept it going. The thing is that they have the starter motor on so he can restart. That's what Gerrit Tenkara was telling me this morning. That's why we have it there.
He's getting out of the gravel. That's the problem. This is the softest gravel I've ever come across.
Oh, come on, Carl. Push it. Is he going to be able to re-go?
He's going.
Because he can get points. He can surely get points. So Walker becomes 4th, Brooks 5th, Arbe 6th, Neukirchner 7th. He hung on to that well as it went down.
He did, yeah. If you hang on to it, it tends not to flip up in the air and start tippling over and smashing itself to pieces.
Fabrizio versus Pitt, Honda versus Yamaha here. Hager's already gone through as they enter the last chicane. Norris
and there's Walker. Walker's not too far off a rostrum here. And he's lapping 3 seconds quicker than both riders in front of him.
And he lapped 1.2 seconds quicker than Norrie Hager on that lap. So
I don't like this. Walker's lapping too fast for me.
Well, perhaps he's just comfortable like that.
And
he, he's a class motocrosser. He knows what it's like to lack grip.
He's never happy unless the bike's moving around, is it, Chris? And you're dead right. But I just think.
But remember, he rejoined the race last by a country mile.
He's still got the best part of 10 laps to get past these lads. He ain't going to catch Hager.
But he
just needs to.
Oh, Chris, just don't do anything silly.
Chris.
Oh, and here comes Peggy. He picks up drive coming out of De Strubben, and he flies past Michel Fabrizio. Whoa.
Keep it together, Chris. Come on. He's going to have these two. He's caught seconds on them.
So, Chris, yeah, but it's catching's one thing, getting past is another.
No, it's not.
Oh, all right.
He'll get past them.
That's what they always say in motocross. It's one thing to catch somebody.
It's wet enough, so it's wet everywhere. There's no dryish line or damp line. It's just you can run off line a little bit. He'll pass him.
Well, Brock Parks was telling me last night these Kawasaki's are rubbish, but I tell you what, the way that Walker's riding it now, oh no, you'd think it was doing pretty well for him.
Yeah. It does look a bit of a big tank though. Sorry, Kawasaki. Oh,
that's not Norrie, is it?
It is Norrie.
Oh, Norrie Hager's gone. Walker could win this.
He could win this.
What is going on? And that will be
unbelievable.
That has destroyed his chances of the championship.
That's a 20-second. And that's exactly the same right-hander, only slightly before that Bayliss just crashed on.
Oh, Norrie Yuki, he had the chance.
And he's not getting back on that, it's destroyed.
He had the chance to dramatically close the gap on Troy Bayliss in the World Championship.
Chris Walker
right now,
win this.
This is a battle for the lead. At the moment, Andrew Pitt is in the lead. This is the battle for the lead now. Second place, and look at the crowd, look at the Brits in the grandstand as Walker goes past.
Walker is
but you know, it's slippy into the first turn.
Walker is, in Britain, about to elevate himself from a legend to a god.
If he stays on. No, it's too much. I can't take this. I'll tell you what, fellas, do you want to take over the mic? We've got David Johnson and Brendan Robertson here. Roberts, of course, has just become the British Superstock champ. I think he'll have to take over the commentary here. I can't stand this. Look, Fonzie Nieto's now 7th. Rolfo in 8th place. Tosland is now 9th. Whatever problems he's got, he's still going to grab some points.
Come on, Chris, I can't speak. I'm nervous.
Chris Walker. Andrew Pitt braking hard. Follow him, Chris Walker, who said to me as the rains drove down this morning and the whole thing got red flagged after the warm-up red flag. He said, there's been so much rain here, I'm surprised the place hasn't been washed away over the years. And Norrie Hager, still looks to be smiling, but you've got to feel for him.
Thrown a 20-second lead and the best chance he's ever going to get the rest of this season of winning this championship. Bayliss out, he had a chance to 25 points
and reduce the deficit to 52 points.
Yeah.
Now then, what about Andrew Pitt? He won, of course. He had his debut victory in World Superbikes on a blistering hot day in Misano. Can he do it in contrasting conditions in Assen, or could Chris Walker make his debut on the top deck of the podium for the PSG One Course Kawasaki team? And I'll tell you what, the poor lad hasn't been paid for a year and a half. They'd have to pay him something if he won this.
We like Andrew Pitt. But we've got to say, we want to see Chris Walker win it.
Oh, no, I think Pitt is doing well. We can hardly see them actually. Excuse me, out there somewhere underwater. Andrew Pitt riding for James Whittam's old team, the former Belgada Yamaha squad, managed by Mayo Merigali. And listen to the crowd. You can
actually hear the crowd, and you know what they're shouting for, because the stands are pretty much at least 50% full of Brits.
Oh, and Walker looking for a way through as he gets the power down on the ZX10, almost level with him as they come past us. But Pitt is a good late solid breaker.
Yeah, Pitt's a good, solid rider. He actually doesn't make that many mistakes. You watch Andrew Pitt in any conditions. He's a good, solid, safe team rider, is Andrew.
Josh Brooks in 4th place for Batoki Kawasaki. It was when was the last time they got a sniff of a rostrum, and he's lapping 2 minutes 2.9. He's at 13.7 seconds behind the leader. He's ahead of Norik Abe, heading for another good result for Yamaha France at last. Norifumi Abe, would you believe, he was adored by a young Valentino Rossi. That's why Rossi called himself Rossi Fumi. 88, Andrew Pitt. Number 9, Chris Walker. They are battling for the lead now. Michel Fabrizio is still there with them. If they put a foot wrong, he's on the DFX Honda. Carl Muggeridge is now back in 11th place, having restarted. He's ahead of Ivan Clementi, Steve Martin.
I think Chris has fancied a bit of this now. This is as close as he's been, and he really looks to be pushing. One thing Chris has got is really